All right, welcome back to Calgary Barbell. Today we are gonna work on the number one issue I see with novice and intermediate squats that isn't bracing. Well, the issue is the pop or slide forward in the bottom of your squat. So a lot of lifters, when they squat, are doing a really good job of the squat till about here. Then what happens is we loosen up and everything pops forwards. The knees pop forwards, in a lot of cases, the heels will even come up, and we lose all the tension in the posterior chain. So again, we're good to about here, and then we just kind of loosen and dip. You can see my heel come up there. My depth probably doesn't look very good. And there are a number of reasons that this is a problem. So, like I said, the heel comes up. We're losing balance. All of our weight is shifting forward. We're getting pretty far away from our center of mass, center of gravity. And it's gonna mask your depth, right? So we think about if my elbow is the heel and this is the knee, the further forward it goes, the lower it goes vertically, right? If the knee stays back a little bit, it sits higher. Why is this important? Because in order to get powerlifting depth, we need the crease of the hip to go below the top of the knee. If the top of the knee is moving down as the crease of the hip moves down, makes it way harder to get depth. That's thing number one. Don't make type 1 errors, don't miss depth. The next thing, when we pop forward like that, like I said, we're losing all of the tension in the posterior chain, right? We're losing all of the stability and the tightness in the hips and hamstrings. Now what happens because of that? Again, let's demonstrate. So when we have this pop forwards, what usually follows is us having to re-find tension. So we're good to here, we pop forwards, and then we get this really quick shot out of the bottom. We end up being pitched forward, the bar's way in front of my center foot, and I'm trying to re-find that posterior chain tension, usually resulting in a sticking point, in the bar rolling up the back, in us getting pulled further forwards, right? And then we're grinding out the rest of the squat. All right, so there are a ton of reasons we might want to fix this issue. How do we fix it? One thing that helped me that's super easy to do was just switching flats. When squatting in flats, I found it way more easy to tell when I was popping forwards, when I ended up losing that position on my feet, because I can feel where the weight is distributed on my feet a lot better. The most straightforward and direct way to address this is to simply work on how you're descending through that bottom third of the range of motion. So instead of going loose, a lot of the times I think people do this and loosen up because they're afraid of getting further pitched forward. They're afraid of leaning the right amount in terms of their torso angle. So they loosen up to avoid leaning so they can pop forward, the hips and knees and everything shoot forward, but they stay upright, which doesn't end up helping us. The biggest way that I like to cue this for lifters that I coach and work with through the wonderful Calgary Barbell app that you can check out in the description link below, is to kind of slow things down and to just think about reaching back in the bottom of the squat, right? So like I said, most lifters are good to about here. From this point, a lot of lifters' instinct is just to loosen up. What we want to do is start reaching back in the hips to try to keep the feet flat and maintaining our trunk angle, our torso angle, right? So staying back, keeping those hips back, keeping things center of foot, maintaining good pressure through the front and back of the foot. Another reason people mess this up is because they're trying to overcorrect for this specific issue. In a lot of cases, lifters know they pop forward. They know they have that issue. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna try to stay super far back. I'm gonna push my hips way far back at the beginning of the squat, and I'm gonna squat just way on the back of my heels. But unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to get to depth there. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna lose even more tension and you're gonna pop forward just like you otherwise would. So in some cases, this is happening because you're too far back. We have to find that balance before initiating the squat. Balance between the ball of the foot and the heel of the foot. Keeping that balance throughout the entire movement, right? It's about finding that balance of knees forward versus hips back. We want some of both. We generally want them to happen simultaneously so that that torso angle stays relatively similar throughout the entire movement. A good test, and one thing that Taylor likes to do, is play your squat in reverse and see if your torso angle on the ascent looks at all similar to your torso angle on the descent. Most of the time, people are gonna be here on the descent and here on the ascent. People trying to stay way too upright, worrying about getting pitched forward, and then getting pitched forward because they're trying not to get pitched forward. So embrace the lean a little bit, find that good balance in forwards and backwards foot pressure, and that's gonna be one of the biggest ways that you can train and cue yourself to maintain this posterior chain tension into the bottom and out of the bottom. It's gonna make your depth seem better. Despite not really traveling more range of motion, it's just gonna appeal to the rules of powerlifting a little bit better because we're not seeing that knee coming forward, it's staying back, so the knee positionally is staying higher in space, making it easier for your hip crease to get below it. A couple other ways we can work on this. Tempo squats. Tempo squats are great as long as we're maintaining the tempo all the way into the bottom. I think a lot of people mess up tempo squats in the exact same way that I was demonstrating messing up squats. They're good to about halfway or 2/3, and then they kind of speed up and dunk into the bottom. Don't do that in your tempo squats. Extend that tempo, make it smooth all the way through to the very bottom position, and it's gonna help you fix exactly this. The other thing, the final point here, is gonna be box squats. Box squats and sitting back, you might hear those things and think those are relics of the past and of West Side, and I think in a lot of ways, in the exaggerated ways that a lot of that stuff was coached, it is, but I think for lifters who tend to like pop or slide forwards in their squat, box squats can be a really good reminder to reach your hips back. And the way I recommend doing this is setting up something that's far enough behind you that you actually do have to kind of reach for it and not relaxing onto the box, right? We're not trying to come down and sit onto the box. We're trying to reach back so that we keep our hips and weight back in the bottom and then drive up like you normally would in a squat. We're not trying to relax, we're trying to maintain tension and just use that as an external cue to reach the hips back into the hole. And there you have it. If you've identified this issue in your own squat, or maybe your squat just kind of feels like trash and you don't know why, watch your squat, see if you're doing this. If so, hopefully applying some of the tips I gave in this video helps you to bring it around. And if you like this style of coaching, perhaps you want to check out the Calgary Barbell training app where we have 50+ programs. I do form checks. Taylor, one of the other coaches I mentioned in this video, and Danny, one of our other phenomenal coaches who's just coming back from coaching the Canadian World's junior team, they also do check-ins in there. So it's not just programming. We're actually offering you coaching within the app, which I think is a distinct and important difference between a lot of just downloading a PDF out there. Anyways, if you like it, check out the app, leave a like, thumbs up, subscribe. We got a lot of powerlifting related content on the channel. We hope you enjoy it. Bye-bye.